Hello, 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 and welcome to a special Halloween episode of Nothing Zilch Nada. We are your hosts, Xavier Dean,
And Jacob Green.
and you may be noticing that we don't have our camera up right now. Well, because it's our Halloween special, just like what we did last year, we decided we're going to dress up for this. So, Jake, on the count of three, we're gonna press the video. Ready?
Okay.
All right, one, two, three. There we go. Oh man, you themed for
Oh my God. No wonder you won the Halloween costume contest.
Well, yeah. So earlier today, I was at a disc golf competition with a costume contest in it. I mean, there are only two of us that actually dressed up. Everyone else was like, "No, I'm gonna disc golf in what I would normally wear." So I'm. But anyway, it was me and then my partner who dressed up as Hulk Hogan. If you can't, if you can't tell, I'm the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne. So, yep. And then Jake, I can see that you're rocking the Hyrulean uh fit.
Yeah. Well, I guess I could be Link, but I guess the more broad term would be Forest Elf since I don't have the Master Sword with me. However, I do have the Ocarina with me.
Well, see, that was what I was thinking. You were Link because you were holding the ocarina. So,
I'm also not wearing a traditional tunic. I mean, I'm wearing all green, but it's more so like a cape with a green shirt.
uh, all right. And just to let the audience know, this may be the last episode that you will see of my hair. It is officially long enough where I am going to cut it to donate it. So for the time being, you might see me bald.
Bold! Bold! Oh, wait, no, I can't do it yet.
Can't do it yet. But until then, I've got the natural hair for Ozzy Osbourne, and honestly, it looks pretty sick. But besides that, as I mentioned earlier, it is our Halloween special. And with it being our Halloween special, Jake and I both decided on topics. Rather than just our normal one of us picks a topic and we talk about that in theory, for a Zoom length episode, but it usually goes on the longer. So, question is, Jake, you want to do you first or me?
How about you do you first?
We do me first. All right. So, and this is going to be interesting because, Jake, we're going to have a little debate. And the way this debate is going to work, because I'm sure you and I have the exact same opinion on this, I will let you pick your side to argue, and then I will argue the opposite side. Sound fair?
Okay.
All right. Well, so, what we were going to be debating on is one of the biggest parts of Halloween. No, it is not horror movies. No, it is not the candy, although the candy is a pretty good part. It is the costumes themselves. So, Jake, what is better, buying a costume or making your own costume?
Hmm. I could go the obvious answer of making your own costume, but on the other hand, it's a little bit tricky because like
Well, hold on, because I want you to pick first before we start debating this.
okay, so I will say I'll do the side of making your Halloween costume.
You'll do the side of making your own. All right. I figured you were going to say that. So, naturally, I agree, as you could tell. But for the sake of this debate, I'm going to go with the opposite side of store-bought. So,
Alrighty.
what we are going to do is we're going to spend the duration of my portion just going back and forth on why we think our side is right. Even though we know full well your side's right, Jake. So,
Alrighty.
first off, what What would you say the first reason is, Jake, for yours?
The first reason for making your own Halloween costume,
Hmm.
I say, man, I'm basically forming opinions out of thin air, which I guess it's the whole point
Is
of
the
the
whole
podcast
thing.
and so I say the first point when it comes to making your own Halloween costume is just the fact that like, well, let's get the obvious one out of the way.
Mhm.
Don't really, well, you don't have to spend as much money
See,
in some cases.
this is where I want to go against that
Mm,
because like a normal store-bought costume, and I'm estimating because I have not bought a store-bought costume in years. Actually, I don't think I've bought one at all. But I would say they're fairly decent priced, like in the 30s or 40s in dollars. Maybe more if you go to Spirit Halloween, right?
mhm.
So, this necklace that I bought for this costume
Mhm.
was
Yeah.
$16 on its own.
16?
17.
Oh, 17.
These shoes, which I bought specifically for Ozzy, they were already $35. So that's already more than what I would estimate. That's not including
Okay.
the shirt I bought, how much this shirt would have been if I had bought it, the glasses, any other little accessories. And yes, my fingernails are painted. Thank you to my sister for doing that for me. Yeah. But I can see where you would say some cases it would be cheaper.
Yeah, again, it's not always the case, but like,
Hmm.
look at my case. I just had a bunch of stuff lying around, so I was able to grab what I can and just able to do that. Of course, like I've had this hat before for a previous Link costume, which for that I created my own Master Sword and my own shield using duct tape and cardboard.
Right. Yeah. But for a store-bought costume, you already have all the necessities. You don't have to go through the hard work of making it. You just have to go buy and then put it on, and you're good. If you're Captain America, Captain America's shield's going to be included with that. If you're Thor, Thor's hammer's going to be included with that.
Hmm.
If you're a dude for
Although this,
what?
although this sparks a very interesting point that I think is relevant for this discussion, which is like, um, you mentioned that like there's hard work that gets put into some of these costumes, and again, it varies.
Yeah,
Like this didn't really take that much effort at all. But like you know those like cardboard cutouts of like the Transformers
yeah,
online? Like that is sick. That I consider to be better than like sure, if you're not able to do something like that, sure, maybe buy that Bumblebee or Optimus Prime costume. But that cardboard looks pretty sick when you know how to use it well.
right. But that's the thing. You have to know how to use it well. That's why with a store-bought costume, the people who make those are already, professionals at making them. They've already got the details down. Sure, it looks like a muscle suit when you inevitably put it on, but they still put in the details. They still put in the work, and it does lead to more jobs for people. If everyone just made their own costumes, those people who make like have pre-made costumes, they wouldn't have jobs.
Yeah, that's true. But like you can also say the same thing because like what is the premise of it being a store-bought costume? Because first thing that comes to my mind is, oh, you bought it off of Walmart or Walgreens or something. But there are probably stores out there that do make their own costumes and not get them from like a certain like retailer.
Yeah, it's Spirit Halloween, a store that's only open for 1 month every year. Usually your local abandoned mall.
I never been to a Spirit of Halloween store. In fact,
Never
I
been to
didn't
Spirit
even know
Halloween.
it. I didn't even know it existed until now.
So Peru, Illinois, which is about a 30-minute drive from where we are, or from where I am, about 2 hours from where he is. They have a Spirit Halloween at the mall, or at the mall where there used to be a J.C. Penney. Yeah. Like I said, they take the rundown buildings and give them a sliver of hope for a month before they go bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you're talking about Peru Mall.
Yep. Yep. But like I said, it gives more jobs, especially when you go to somewhere like Spirit Halloween, because Spirit Halloween not only provides costumes, but it provides like a seasonal job to maybe a couple of high schoolers who need a quick buck for whatever they need. Maybe for Christmas, maybe for gas.
Mhm. Yeah, that's fair.
That plus, when you get a Sorbot costume, no one's confused on who you are. I mean, just look at me. Would you assume that people confuse me for someone else?
Um, Ozzy Osbourne,
Well, that is who I am. But
like the real Ozzy Osbourne.
I wish. I wish I was that. I wish I was that good looking. No,
Um,
I did get someone tell me that if I didn't have, or if I didn't actually look like Ozzy, they'd think I'd look like John Lennon.
that's fair.
Imagine all the people.
Yeah. I could have dressed up as a musician for Halloween, but
That's what I did. Well, that's
I'm
why.
already I'm
Hmm?
already a musician, so it's kind of redundant at this point
Uh,
because
It would
I
be.
know what I could do to spice mine up, and yet maybe I could be Kenny G, but one, I don't have a soprano saxophone, and two, I'm not gonna grow long curly hair.
That's fair. Oh, speaking of spicing things up, and this is gonna go with a little bit of the dirtier side. There are specific costumes that you can pre-make that are supposed to be showing more skin to a certain demographic to make them look more attractive.
Yeah, and just saying this now, I've never been a big fan of those to begin with. I'm not saying I don't understand the point of them. I'm saying that I just don't agree with them, period. I make sure people can wear whatever the heck they want,
Mhm.
but no, no, it just ain't for me. And I've been to enough, clubs, especially during Halloween, where I do see that type of stuff. And
Yep.
it's just like, nope. And like, sure, like there are stores, adult stores that do that type of stuff. You could also make your own.
Yeah,
But I
but
disagree with that.
then you have to go and gather the supplies. Then you gotta take the time to actually make the supplies. If you're someone who's just constantly busy like I am, can't really find the time to put it all together.
That is true. I'm in the
It's
same
really
boat too.
redundant me saying that while dressed up like this.
Yeah, well, I barely put effort into mine. I mean, I wanted to do like a different costume, but like I just haven't found the time to do all that stuff together. Honestly, the most scariest part of the Halloween season for me is the research and bibliography paper.
Uh,
Just trying to get that done. Um, no. Although, because I remember, because last year I dressed up as a ninja because it was last minute. And actually, this brings up an interesting point because here's the thing. For the most part, my mom always made my costumes,
hmm.
like whatever I wanted to be. Like when I was in the Ninjago, I wanted to be the Green Ninja for Halloween, so I became the Green Ninja. And uh, you know, that was when my mom uh figured that like in order to create a good looking ninja mask, all you have to do is grab a blank t-shirt, pull it inside out, have the neck uh hole uh place it where the eyes are at, and then tie it behind you.
All
That's
right.
like pretty genuine ninja mask right there.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, but it gives some good creativity like that, and I've done that plenty of times, especially last year. Actually, I made a different costume from when I did a Halloween concert last year with Blind Mice, where I dressed up as Joker from Persona 5.
Oh, cool.
And I made my own paper mask with that, and I dressed in like in all black because that's what Joker is. The main thing was just getting the mask down.
Hmm.
A different type of all black though. His all black is more sleeker, like um, like it's more like because he wears like a trench coat,
Okay.
all the way to his legs. Although with that I just used a cape. But he wears like darker, sleeker clothes. I had a long black polo shirt and dress black pants, black shoes. The only thing I didn't have with me is the knife for obvious reasons. But the mask was the main thing that I had to get down, and I just used like paper for that. Um, but yeah, like
All right.
I try to make my own costumes when I can because I don't want to. This is this is one of the downsides, and I guess you could say the same thing for when it comes to making your own costume.
Hmm.
Like you buy it, but then you don't touch it for a year. And like it's different for when you're a kid. Because when you're a kid, what does your body do? It grows.
Hey, gross.
Yeah, it's like do you remember because I remember when we talked about in our band memories episode about that Disney trip we made.
Yep.
When we had to march through Magic Kingdom, did you feel like that your marching band uniform was tight? Because
Yes.
mine was.
Yes. Yes, it
Mine
was.
was. Yeah. Now, y'all keep in mind that like um males and females have different paces in which they grow.
Hmm.
Um like for guys, we grow a little bit slower. I it again, it varies. Um but that's one of the downsides still like getting like a Halloween costume like that. And like sure, maybe you have another kid that might want to wear that same costume next year, but that always varies. And 90% of the time they're gonna want their own costume.
So that would have been my main argument if you had decided to go with store-bought. Because I completely agree with that. Like I said, these things cost a lot of money, but these are things that I will use regularly. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna be honest, this necklace, I might start wearing it more often just because I spent the money on it. These dress shoes,
Hmm.
yes, not great for disc golfing in, but I still plan on wearing these shoes, both for my other Halloween costume I'm wearing, because this year I've got three. This one was for the disc golf tournament. I've got a construction worker for the school I work at. And then I've got Cosmo from Fairly Odd Parents, because my girlfriend and I are doing a Cosmo and Wanda couples costume on Halloween night for karaoke.
Oh,
But anyway,
wait, hang
what's
on. I need to say the line. Cosmo, you thunderhead.
uh,
Uh, um,
no, but anyway, I'm gonna wear these shoes not just for that costume, but I'm planning once my current work shoes just stop. feeling what or feeling good because they are starting to
Mhm.
get there. I'm planning on using
Yeah.
these shoes for the same thing. Plus, you need to have a good, nice, like a nice pair of dress shoes with you. Uh, this
Yeah.
shirt, this shirt right here, I bought it specifically for Ozzy. It's got a,
Mhm.
it's got a little breast pocket right here. I love shirts with breast pockets. I'm more likely to wear this shirt without a button up than any other shirt, so I will most likely wear this a lot more often. These
Yeah.
glasses, if I had bought them, I'd wear them more often because I think I look pretty cool with them. Not gonna
Yeah.
so
Yeah. But same thing with me here. Like this hat that was made for by my mom when I first got the costume. I still have it with me, and it's good for Christmas too.
yeah.
Um, yeah, the blanket, which isn't part of like the original Link design because he wears a tunic. Originally, I had like a dark pine green, extra long shirt to make it more like a tunic, which
Mhm.
works. Except I don't know what happened to it, and I would like to get another one at some point. But I have this green cape like
Mhm.
thing, which is this is the blanket I sleep with. It's so versatile in
Really?
a lot of things. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so versatile with a lot of things, and it's a great color too. In fact, um, this was from my dad's company that he like works under. Well, not works under, but he's affiliated with. We get a bunch of these types of products, and this is one of them, and it's lasted for a long time.
Yeah.
This ocarina here was given. It was made by Xavier's friend that makes like 3D printed stuff, and it holds up pretty well.
It
And
it
it
does. I still have mine. I still use it every so often.
Yeah, I don't play with it as often. You know, if I want to play actual music, I have an actual flute and I play the saxophone. But this is pretty good when I want to cosplay as something. And plus, like, I could still play this. Like, I can. It's kind of hard because it's a little bit out of tune, and I won't get like the exact pitches. But with the correct voicing, I'm able to play some of the ocarina songs.
Yeah.
Like, uh, best I could do. And then let's see. You remember the LG of emptiness that I talked about in our last podcast episode?
Yes.
This is that song. Like, trying to think. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
So Jake, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Hmm.
I couldn't hear the music through the audio.
Oh,
I couldn't hear it. So hopefully it still went through on the actual video during post production, but
come up when I
still.
do this.
I can't hear it.
Wow.
I can't hear it. It must be following the Bell from the Polar Express rules. Oh man, I'm too cool.
Yeah. Anyways,
But
yeah. So like, I still use this. And like, and here's the thing, I was gonna grab supplies from home to
mhm.
be able to use like legitimate stuff for costume because like I have a bunch of hats in
Right.
my old bedroom, like a whole bunch from when I was a kid.
Mhm.
Like I have this like Russian type fur hat that's like big and poofy. I have an American Dr. Seuss, well, not Dr. Seuss, Cat in the Hat like hat
Yeah.
that looks kind of long. I know there's like a pilot's hat, there's a construction hat in there. There's a magician's wand. I got katanas,
Ooh.
wooden katanas, not real ones, but they're still pretty good.
It's
Um,
basically that bin of like miscellaneous Lego pieces for the minifigures. It's like, let's see here. Magic wand? No. Soccer ball? No. Ah, I know what he needs. A hard hat with a gear on it.
yeah, and then I got that cape that I've worn in the past that's like black and it's got like a red fabric underneath of it.
Yep.
Um, and I'm trying to think because like most of the costumes that I've worn, as I mentioned, were made by my mom because one of the earliest costumes I can remember wearing was a Bob the Tomato costume.
Right.
And yes, this was when I was into Veggie Tales. I was probably like 4 years old when I was wearing those types of costumes. Um, I I don't remember some of the other ones that I wore. They some of them were kind of hyper specific,
Hmm.
basically stuff that I was into. In fact, I could have I could have been Ben 10 if I wanted to because my mom made me one time this little like Omnitrix. My mom's the best. She creates like some great stuff. But it's still there. It's still there in the piles of toys somewhere. And
Hmm.
this was before I got that Alien Force Omnitrix. Um, like the actual toy. Um,
I just want to
so
point out,
yeah.
I just want to point out all moms are awesome because my mom used to also like not all of our costumes were handmade, but at a certain point in my life, I want to say it was third grade. Both my mom and my dad helped me make costumes up to a certain point, and then I started making more as I got older.
Yeah. I kind of stopped wearing costumes, once I started like when I was like 13, I think. I
So,
would wear them on the occasion. Like when I used to take piano lessons, we would always have piano concerts for like the end of the year and such, but we also did a Halloween concert, which
yeah.
for a couple of those I played a Castlevania song. I played Phantom of the Opera at one point on the organ. Um I'm trying to think. I know there's other ones, but for those I would wear some costumes for those. But yeah, and I don't like it's different. Like if I had kids, maybe I would dress something up. Nothing too out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because like I don't know. Again, like because I don't want to go bother like buying like an adult sized costume, which are a thing. They are definitely are a thing in like Walmart.
Yeah.
Um, but for the most part, I still want to be able to create my own costumes, especially when some of them are kind of hyper specific anyways.
Right.
Like I actually wanted to be the player protagonist of Hollow Knight. I don't know if you're familiar with that design.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Um, yeah, and it would have been simple to do, but I just didn't have the necessary supplies for it.
Uh, so I I'm gonna be honest. Now that I am an adult, it's weird because like I I don't know why, but now I enjoy like doing stuff like this. I enjoy going and like putting stuff together into costumes like this. And, I mean, I'm not gonna go and be like, oh, well, today I'm gonna dress up as blah 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 for random. No, I want to do stuff like this for like special occasions. Like for
Yeah.
today, I was at a Halloween disc or a Halloween themed disc golf competition. Uh, couple of months ago, I was at this comic book convention, and for that,
Mhm.
because my hair was long and I had the necessary tools, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna dress up as Bucky Barnes for it. Again, I like the idea of going and dressing up. And like you said, Jake, there's no use as an adult to buy one of those adult costumes because they're, I don't know, in my mind, they're bland.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like,
Can you?
because like, despite the like difference in terms of design, like you compare like a Bumblebee Transformers costume that you buy at Walmart to a Spider-Man costume you also buy at Walmart.
Mhm.
Like, despite the fact that they're different designs, they still function the same way.
Yeah, they're the exact same. They're basically bodysuits. They're like these specific bodysuits with the extra padding so you look muscular. No, if
Yeah.
I dress up as someone muscular, I'm gonna put in the work for a full year to become that muscular person. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe not, but it's a thought that counts.
Yeah. And if
Put
I
on a
wanted to
tight
dress
shirt
up,
and suck my gut in for that.
yeah. Yeah. And if I wanted to be uh Fozzie Fazbear, I would be what is it? Fazbear from like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh,
I would just
Fat
steal the
Bear?
animatronic.
Yeah,
Yeah. I would still wear I would steal the animatronic costume.
yeah. Like in order for me to be Ozzy, I literally had to eat the head of a bat.
Hmm.
It was a gummy bat, but it was
No,
still a
yeah, the other thing to take into consideration too is just like, because I was thinking of different options to do when I found out that I couldn't dress up as a character that I wanted to. It's just like, what if I dressed up as like James Bond since I have a tuxedo?
bat. That is
But
true.
then I was like, yes, but that'd be kind of boring because I still wear suits quite frequently, you know?
Hmm.
And at that point, it'd be the same thing as dressing up for a gig, and I don't want to do that. You
Yeah.
know, I kind of want to be a little bit more relaxed for this sort of thing.
Hmm. I agree.
Like this is legitimately comfortable, you
All
know.
right.
The thing about those bodysuit costumes is the fact that like, you know, it's hard to like when you have an itch somewhere and it's just like,
Mhm. You want
like
you gotta account for with those because we
what's
live in the
that?
Midwest and the weather here sucks.
Mm-hmm.
There have been not there have been Halloweens where I would go trick or treating and there was snow on the ground. How many of those bodysuits are actually warm?
Well, yeah, that does take it into consideration. Although I think that applies more so to kids as an
That does apply
adult.
more so to kids, but still, none of those are warm enough for kids. It's to a point where parents will have them put the coat on, and at that point, what's the point of the costume? Sure, you're dressed up as Spider-Man, but you can only really see Spider-Man's pants. I mean, unless you're gonna unmask yourself, have a green coat over the Spider-Man, and then maybe like sweatpants, then I could see you being like Spider-Man
At
from
that point, just wear Spider-Man's nanotech suit.
Right.
Easy on and off switch right there.
That is true. But no, but like I said, you gotta, when you're making your own costume, you gotta think about the weather as well. Because,
Hmm.
like, although this is long sleeve, it's not great for colder temperatures. In fact, at that disc golf tournament I was talking about, I had an undershirt on, like a long sleeve black undershirt on under this. I still looked the part, but then I had something a little warmer on underneath of it because I can do that with a costume I made. If you are going and, you know, getting a store-bought costume, you can't really do any of that. And then, like Jake said, it's like you can improvise with a created costume with things you already have. And there could be times where you can have certain things for a certain costume, but then you have to switch last minute. Or it's like, oh, I can't do this anymore because I can't get this thing.
Yeah.
But these things can also go for this character from this thing, so I will go to do that. All right. I know I basically just switched sides, but that's because I ran out of arguments for store-bought. I,
Yeah. The way that I see it, because I honestly didn't think this would be so lopsided. Well, not lopsided, but like, it seems you can have very balanced perspectives on this topic,
mhm.
because I think there's both
There
positives and
is.
negatives on both
There is.
sides,
And
you know.
this isn't us like bashing those store-bought costumes. Even though the
Mhm.
little rant I did was bashing about or bashing them. But this isn't us doing that. This is us having an argument on which one works better, bringing up both positives and negatives. I understand if you want to get a legitimate Superman costume for a Halloween party. Uh,
Mhm.
And I
Or a
understand,
Batman costume.
or Batman. I don't know if it's
But
Batman, you have to eat your head.
at that point, just rob the Batcave. I mean, that's what Terry McGinnis did in Batman Beyond.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. But between Jake and I, Jake, would you agree that we'd rather make our own costumes?
Yeah, in most cases, I would just rather make my own costume just because it feels like more of me.
Yeah. Yeah. That plus you can't really win or it's a lot harder to win a costume contest if you didn't put too much effort.
Yeah.
Like I said, this took effort. And I don't care if there was only two of us at the costume contest. I still take pride in the fact that I won it. But so that's my topic. Jake, you have your topic lined up?
I do.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stop this meeting and hop onto a new meeting just for Jake's topic.
Hmm.
See you then. No, hold on. All right, and we're back. And Jake, what is our topic that you have picked for us?
Well, the topic I picked today. So you remember when our last Halloween special, I told an Irish ghost story?
Yep, I do remember that.
Well, I'm basically going to be doing the same thing again, except with a different type of horror storytelling. And no, it's not Grimm's fairy tales, although those are scary. By the way, I've attended one of those sessions once, and that was like really
So,
great
I,
experience to have.
so I've got two collections of because back at a certain point in time, Walmart used to have these like special edition copies of classic works. I've got their two Grimm's Brothers collections somewhere in my room. So one of
No,
these days we do gotta talk about those.
yeah, no, but we're not talking about Irish ghost stories as much as I want to read more of them. I don't know. Maybe if we ever do like a St. Patrick Day based episode, I could go over more Irish ghost stories. But we're going to be talking about one that's based around the internet. And
Okay.
these are types of stories called creepy pastas.
Ooh.
Um, so because I actually didn't know why it was called a creepy pasta in the first place, but here is the definition of a creepy pasta. So, creepypastas are internet-based horror stories, legends, and images that are copied and pasted across the web to scare readers. They are a user-generated genre of paranormal and scary content that
Hi guys,
functions as
Xavier
a
here.
modern
What's up?
what?
Oh, nothing. Nothing. I was trying to multitask as well. I
Okay.
didn't mean to press
Um,
a certain thing.
Yeah. They are a user-generated genre of paranormal and scary content that functions as a modern digital form of folklore, with popular examples including the stories of Slender Man and Jeff the Killer. Okay, so I've actually heard of Slender Man.
Mm,
Um,
uh,
uh, that's like based off of like an actual game actually that was popular for a bit.
I don't know.
Um,
I thought the game was based off of the creepypasta.
that might have been it. I'm not that well versed when it comes to creepy pastas. What I am well versed on is a certain type of creepy pasta based around my favorite game, which we've kind of talked about in a previous episode, and that is The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. And if that episode, which that was from last week, so if you haven't seen it yet, you should go watch it. I talked about creepy moments from that game. Um, Also, I should note that today, as of recording this, that it is the 25th anniversary of the of its North American release date. It released in April 27th in Japan. Um, so I guess the 20th
Hi
anniversary
guys,
is
Xavier
already
here from
passed
Stuff.
already.
Yep. Sorry. Press the same thing again. That's on me. I'm trying
Yeah,
to exit out of it, but it's not letting me.
yeah. Anyways,
All right,
um,
got it. Sorry. Continue. Creepypastas.
yeah. So, um, Majora's Mask was kind of my first foray into digging like theories and internet lore about the game. And this is where I stumbled upon a creepy pasta by the name of Ben Drowned. Now, my goal for this is to hopefully like read through most of the story of Ben Drowned because it is kind of long. Um, but I knew certain details about it. So um, I'll give you like basically what the story is kind of about. So Band Drowned or Hunted Majora's Mask is a well-known creepypasta and later an alternate reality game. So this was kind of how I first discovered it because someone did make a ROM hack based around Majora's Mask, um, based on this story. So the story was created by Alex Hall, also known as uh, Jedusable. I'm just gonna call him Alex. The story revolves around a Majora's Mask cartridge that is haunted by the ghost, if it is a ghost, of a boy named Ben. Analysis and updates on a possible addition to the story. Okay, yeah, that's so I'm reading this off of the wiki, where the pasta is at. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, so
All right.
just a forewarning that this might get dark, especially when you're talking about Majora's Mask, um, and the content that's in that game. Although it doesn't start with that right away. So let us get started. And in fact, before this,
Oh, wait. Uh,
gotta do this again.
all right. I don't have a flashlight with me, so guess my phone will work. Give me a sec. You can start reading. I'm not walking too far.
Alrighty.
There we go.
All right. So we're gonna skip some of the stuff from the beginning so that way we can actually get to the story because it's basically based around his encounter with the haunted Majora's Mask cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
I recently moved into my dorm room, starting as a sophomore in college, and a friend of mine gave me his old Nintendo 64. I was stoked, to say the least. I could finally play all of those old games of my youth that I hadn't touched in at least a decade. His N64 came with one yellow controller and a rather shoddy copy of Super Smash Bros. While beggars can't be choosers, needless to say, it didn't take long until I became bored of being up level 9 CPUs. That weekend, I decided to drive around a few neighborhoods about 20 minutes or so off of campus, hitting up the local garage sales, hoping to score on some good deals from ignorant parents. I ended up picking up a copy of Pokemon Stadium, GoldenEye, F-Zero, and other two controllers for $2. Man, let me just say this. That is a steal, if that's actually real. Like, GoldenEye, F-Zero, like, those are bangers right there.
Yep.
Satisfied, I began to drive out the neighborhood when one last house caught my attention. I still had no idea why it did. There were no cars there, and only one table was set up with random junk on it. But something sort of drew me there. I usually trust my gut out on these things, so I got out of the car and was greeted by an old man. His outward appearance was, for lack of a better word, displeasing. It was odd. If you asked me to tell you why I thought that, I couldn't really pinpoint anything. There was just something about him that put me on edge. I can't explain it, but I could tell you it. But what I can tell you is that if it wasn't in the middle of the afternoon and there were other people within shouting distance, I would not have even thought of approaching this man. So he flashed a crooked smile at me and asked what I was looking for. Immediately, I noticed that he must have been blind in one of his eyes. His right one had that glazed over look about it. I forced myself to look to his left eye instead, trying not to offend, and asked him if he had any old video games. I was already wondering how I could politely excuse myself from the situation when he told me he had no idea what a video game was. To my surprise, he then said he had a few ones in an old box. He assured me he'd be back in a jiffy and turned to head back into the garage. As I watched him hobble away, I couldn't help but notice that what he was selling on his table. Layered across it were rather peculiar paintings, various artworks that looked like ink blots that a psychiatrist might show you. Curious, I looked through them. It was obvious why no one was visiting this guy's garage sale. These weren't exactly aesthetically pleasing. As I came to the last one, for some reason, it almost looked like Majora's Mask. The same heart-shaped body with little spikes protruding outward. Initially, I just thought that since I was secretly hoping to find that game at these garage sales, some type of stuff like that was projecting itself into the ink blots. But given the events that happened afterwards, I'm not so sure now. I should have asked the man about it. I wish I did ask the man about it.
Hmm.
After staring at the Majora's shaped blot, I looked up and the old man was suddenly there again, arms length in front of me, smiling at me. I'll admit, I jumped out of reflex and laughed nervously as he handed me a Nintendo 64 cartridge. It was the standard gray color, except that someone had written Majora on it in black permanent marker. I got butterflies in my stomach as I realized what a coincidence this was and asked him how much he wanted for it. For the record, Majora's Mask on a gray cartridge, that is pretty rare because most copies of Majora's Mask came in the gold cartridge, unlike Ocarina of Time, which only a limited copies had the gold cartridge and most of them were gray.
Right.
The old man smiled at me and told me that I could have it for free, that it used to belong to a kid who was about my age that didn't live here anymore. There was something weird about how he phrased that, but I didn't really pay any attention to it. I was too caught up in not only finding this game, but getting it for free. Uh, I reminded myself to be a bit skeptical since this looked like a pretty shady cartridge, but there was no guarantee it would work. But then the optimist inside me interjected, and maybe it was some kind of beta version or pirated version of the game. That was all I needed to be back on cloud nine. I thanked the man, and he smiled at me and wished me well, saying, "Goodbye then." At least that's what it sounded like to me. All the way in the car ride home, I had a nagging doubt that he had said something else. My fears were confirmed when I booted up the game. To my surprise, it worked just fine. And then there was one save. So this is when you actually get to opening the save files from the game. And I do remember this being part of the ROM hack made for it. And then there was one save file named simply Ben. Goodbye, Ben. He was saying goodbye, Ben. I felt bad for the man, obviously a grandparent and obviously going senile. For some reason or another, reminded him of his grandson, Ben.
Mhm.
Out of curiosity, I looked at the save file, eyeballing it. I could tell that he was pretty far into the game. He had almost all the masks and three out of the four bosses remains. I noticed that he had used an owl statue to save his game. He was on day 3 and by the Stone Tower Tempo with hardly an hour left before the moon would crash. I remember thinking that it was a shame that he had come so close to beating the game but never finished it. Yeah, that is pretty close. I made a new file named Link out of tradition and started the game. I used to do the same thing too.
Hmm.
Ready to relive my childhood. For such a shady looking cartridge, I was impressed at how smoothly it ran. Literally just like a retail copy of the game, save for a few minor hiccups here and there, like textures being where they shouldn't be and random flashes of cutscenes at odd intervals, but nothing too bad. Actually, I need to say this real quick.
Hmm.
Because I don't because I've not mentioned this to this point about Majora's Mask, but in order to get it working, you had to use the transfer pack, which only worked for that game. It basically upped the textures of like certain graphics and models.
Okay.
So I don't know if he did have one. It doesn't say because that is pretty important. Because if you don't have the transfer pack, then you can't play Majora's Mask.
Hmm.
Anyways, let us continue. However, the only thing that was a little unnerving was that at times the NPCs would call me Link, at other times they would call me Ben. I figured it was just a bug, a fluke in the programming causing our files to get mixed up or something. It did kind of creep me out after a while, though, and it was around after I had beaten the Woodfall Temple that I regrettably went into the save files and deleted Ben. I had intended to preserve the file just out of respect for the game's original owner. It's not like I needed two files anyway, hoping that it would solve the problem. It did and it didn't. Now NPCs wouldn't call me anything. Where my name should have been in the dialogue, there was just a blank space. My save file was still called Link though. Frustrated and with homework to do, I put the game down for a day. I started playing it again last night, getting the Lens of Truth and working my way towards completing the Snowhead Temple. Now, some of you more hardcore Majora's Mask players know about the fourth day glitch. Okay, I've heard about this before. For those who don't, you could Google it, but the gist is that that right as the clock is about to hit 0 days, 0 hours, and 0 minutes on the final day, you could talk to the astronomer and look through the telescope. If you time it right, the countdown disappears and you essentially have another day to finish whatever you were doing. I've never been able to do this. Um, Deciding to do the glitch to try and finish the Snowhead Temple, I happened to get it right on the first try and the time counter at the bottom disappeared. However, when I pressed B to exit the telescope instead of being greeted by the astronomer, I found myself in the Majora boss fight room at the end of the game. The It's basically that arena where we talked about. Actually, no, this is on top of the clock tower, staring at the Skull Kid hovering above me. There was no sound, just him floating in the air, and the background music, which was regular for the area, but still creepy. Immediately, my palms began to sweat. This was definitely not normal. Skull Kid never appeared here. I tried moving around the area, but no matter where I went, Skull Kid would always be facing me, looking at me, not saying anything. Nothing would happen though, and this kept up for about 60 seconds. I thought the game had bugged or something, but I was beginning to doubt that very much.
Mhm.
I was about to reach for the reset button when text appeared on screen. You're not sure why, but you apparently had a reservation. I instantly recognized that text. You get that message when you get the room key from Andrew at the Stockpot Inn. That is true. But why was it playing here? I refused to entertain the notion that it was almost as if the game was trying to communicate with me. I started to navigate the room again, testing to see if that was some sort of trigger that enabled to interact with something here. And I realized how stupid I was. To even think that someone would reprogram the game like this was absurd. Sure enough, 15 seconds later, another message appeared on screen, and again, like the first one, it was already a pre-existing phrase. Go to the lair of the temple's boss, yes or no. Um, yeah, that I think that happens when you do the shortcut that lets you go through the boss fight, but only when you fought the boss for the first time.
Mhm.
I paused for a second, contemplating what I should press and how the game would react. When I realized that I couldn't select no, taking a deep breath, I pressed yes, and the screen faded to white with the words dawn of a new day and the subtext line beneath it. So dawn of a new day, that's like after you beat the Majora boss fight and the ending cutscene plays. Except it doesn't play that ending cutscene.
Mhm.
Where I was ported to filled me with the most intense dread and impending fear I have ever experienced. The only way I describe the way I felt here is that this feeling of inexplicable depression of a profound scale. I am normally not a depressed person, but the way I felt here was a feeling that I didn't even knew existed. It was such a twisted, powerful presence that it seemed to wash over me. I appeared in some kind of weird Twilight Zone version of Clocktown. That's kind of weird considering the fact that Twilight Princess wouldn't come out until 2006. I
Mhm.
walked out of the clock tower, as you normally do when you start from day one, only to find that all the inhabitants were gone. Usually with the fourth day glitch, you could still find the guards and the dog that runs outside the tower. This time they were all gone. What replaced them was the anonymous feeling that there was something out there in the same area as me, and that it was watching me. I had 4 hearts to my name and the hero's bow, but at this point, I wasn't even concerned for my avatar. I felt that I personally was in some kind of danger. Perhaps the most chilling thing was the music. It was the song of feeling ripped straight from the game itself, but played in reverse. Okay, I need to talk about this real quick. So the notes from the Song of Healing, like the actual melody notes are actually they're kind of ripped from a previous song from Ocarina of Time called Saria Song. Although their context, the way that they're played, and even the underlying harmonies are different. And the stuff that comes after, like the Ocarina melody. But this is that song, the Song of Healing, but played in reverse, which you can listen to that online on YouTube. It's actually pretty scary. It got louder, building up as if you should expect something to pop out at you, but nothing ever did, and the constant loop began to wear on my mental state. Every now and then, I would hear the faint laugh of the happy mask salesman in the background. So, yeah, when we talked about the happy mask salesman in the previous episode, his laugh is one of those reasons why he is so creepy. Just quiet enough so that way I wasn't sure if I was just hearing things, but just loud enough to keep me determined to find him. I looked at all 4 zones of Clocktown only to find nothing. No one. Textures were missing. West Clocktown had me walking on air. The entire area felt broken. Hopelessly broken as the reverse song of healing repeated for what must have been the 50th time. I just remember standing in the middle of Clocktown realizing that I had never felt so alone in a video game before. This is wild.
Mhm.
As I walked through the ghost town, I don't know whether it was the combination of the out of place textures in the atmosphere or the haunting melody of the once peaceful and soothing song being butchered and distorted. But I was literally on the verge of tears, and I had no idea why. I hardly ever cry. Something that gripped me here with this powerful sense of depression that was both foreign and crippling. I tried leaving Clocktown, but every time I attempted to zone out, the screen would fade to black and I would just zone into another part of Clocktown. I tried playing my ocarina. I wanted to escape, but I did not want to be here. But every time I played the Song of Time or Song of Soaring, which were Song of Time is like the thing that helps you go back to the first day, and Song of Soaring allows you to go through owl checkpoints in the different areas. It would say your notes echo too far, but nothing happens. By this point, it was obvious the game didn't want me to leave, but I had no idea why it was keeping me here. I didn't want to go inside the buildings. I felt I would be too vulnerable in there to whatever I was terrified of. I don't know why, but I came up with the idea that maybe if I drowned myself at the laundry pool, I would spawn somewhere else and leave this place. As I zoned in and ran towards the pool, that's when it happened. Link grabbed his head, and the screen flashed for a brief moment of the Happy Mask salesman smiling at me. Not Link, me. With the Skull Kid screen playing in the background, when the screen returned, I was staring at the Link statue from playing the Elegy of Emptiness. So you remember that when we talked about the Elegy of Emptiness, the statues?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of the main highlight for Ben Drowned is the statues. I screamed as the thing just stared back at me with that haunting facial expression. I turned around and ran out and back into South Clock Town. And to my horror, the statue followed me. The only thing I can compare it to is like the weeping angels from Doctor Who. Does that sound familiar to you?
That does sound familiar. So the Weeping Angels are a statue. Well, they are a race of beings generally seen as statues of these, well, weeping angels. Doesn't sound too scary. The thing is, if you blink or you don't look at them or whatever, unless someone is looking at them at all times, they will start moving. It leads to one of my favorite lines from Doctor Who, something that my girlfriend and I quote all the time. It is, don't blink. Blink and you're dead. Reason being, if you blink, they start moving towards you. And if they get you, you are now displaced in time.
Yeah, that sounds about right here.
Yeah?
All right.
Little
Every
did
so
they know there's one right behind him.
every so often,
I'm sorry, I had to make a joke right there.
no,
I
it's
am
fine.
so all right, but continue with Ben Drowned.
Yeah, every so often, at random intervals, the animation would play of the statue appearing behind me. It was like the thing was chasing me, or don't even want to say it, haunting me. Oh, let my window down for a sec.
All right.
By this point, I was on the verge of hysterics, but not even once did the thought of turning off the console occur to me. I don't know why I was so wrapped up in it. The terror felt all so real. So, this is the thing. Like, he was that scared of the game that he didn't think about turning off the console. Like, there are immersive video games, and then there are immersive video games.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to shake the statue, but it would literally appear right behind me every single time. Link started to begin to make weird animations I had never seen him do before. He would flail his arms around or spasm randomly, and the screen would cut to the Happy Mask salesman smiling for a brief moment before I was face to face with that statue again. I ended up running into the Swords Master's dojo and to the back. I don't know why, but in my panic, I just wanted some kind of assurance that I wasn't alone here. To my dismay, I found no one, but as I turned to leave, the statue cornered me in the cubby in the back. I tried attacking it with my sword, but to no avail. Confused and backed into a corner, I just stared at the statue, waiting for it to kill me. Suddenly, the screen flashed again to the happy mask salesman. Link turned to face my screen, standing upright, mirroring the statue, looking at me with his coffee, literally staring at me. Whatever was left of the fourth wall was completely shattered while I was out of the dojo, terrified. Suddenly, the game warped me into an underground tunnel, and the reverse sauna feeling was up again as I was given a brief moment of rest before the statue started appearing behind me again. This time aggressively. I could take a few steps before it would someone behind me. I hurriedly made my way out of the tunnel and appeared in the southern clock town. As I ran aimlessly in the sheer panic, suddenly a read-dead scream, and the screen faded to black as dawn of a new day, and line appeared again. The screen faded in, and I was standing on top of Clock Tower with Skull Kid hovering over me again, silent. I looked up, and the moon was back, looming just meters above my head. The Skull Kid just stared at me hauntingly with that mask. A new song was playing, but the Stone Tower Temple theme played in reverse. Okay, I did not know about that part.
That
Stone
is.
Tower, Stone Tower Temple theme being reversed. That is, man. In some point of desperate attempt, I hit my bow, fired off a shot at the Skull Kid. It actually hit him and played an animation of him reeling back. I fired again, and on the third arrow, text box appeared saying, "That won't do you any good." Hee hee. I was picked off the ground and levitated upwards on my back. Link screamed as he burst into flames, instantly killing him.
Hmm.
I jumped when this happened. I had never seen this move used by anyone in the game, and the Skull Kid himself didn't have any moves. That is actually true. As his death screen played, my lifeless body still burning, the Skull Kid laughed and the screen faded to black, only to have me reappear in the same place. I decided to charge him, but the same thing happened. Link's body was lifted off the ground by some unknown force, and he burst into flames, killing him. This time during the death screen, the faint sounds of the reverse song of healing could be heard. On the third and final try, I noticed that there was no music playing this time, and all there was eerie silence. I remember that the original encounter with the Skull Kid, you were supposed to use the ocarina to either travel back in time or summon the giants. I attempted to play the Song of Time, but before I could hit the last note, Link's body once again horrifically exploded into flames and he died.
Hmm. Yeah, that seems normal to me. I don't know what's different about this or this game from the original game.
What's different about it is that it doesn't happen from the original game.
I,
That's the thing.
I was making a joke, Jake.
Oh, as the uh as the death screen neared its end and it began to chug as if the cartridge was trying to process a lot of something, when the screen came to, it was the same scene as the first three times, except this time Link was lying on the ground, dead in a position I had never seen in the game before. His head was tilted towards the camera with the Skull Kid floating above him. I couldn't move. I couldn't press any buttons. All I could do was just stare at Link's dead body. After around 30 seconds of this, the game simply faded out, showing the message, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" before kicking you out to the title screen.
Hmm.
Upon getting back to the title screen and starting again, I noticed my save file was no longer there. Instead of Link, it was replaced with "your turn." Your turn had 3 hearts, 0 masks, and no items. I selected your turn and immediately was returned to the Clock Tower rooftop scene of my dead Link and the Skull Kid hovering over, and the Skull Kid's laughing, looping again and again. I quickly hit the reset button, and when the game booted up again, there was one more save file added below. Your turn entitled Ben. Ben's save file was right back where it was before I deleted it, at the Stone Tower Temple with the moon almost crashing. I
Hmm.
turned the game off at that point. I'm not superstitious, but this is way too screwed up for me.
Hmm.
I haven't played it at all today. I didn't even get any sleep last night. I kept hearing the reverse song of healing music in my head, and just remembering the sense of dread I felt exploring Clocktown. I drove back to the old man's house today to ask him some questions with a buddy of mine. No way I was going there alone, only to find that there was a for sale sign in the front yard. When I rang the doorbell, no one was home.
Man,
There's a little bit more, but I think this is a good place to stop at.
it was a good thing because I was about to let you know we only got 7 minutes left.
Yeah, I was kind of keeping track of the time anyways.
Man.
So, yeah. So,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna lie, that has gotten me spooked. That has me so spooked right now.
Yeah. It's
Ah,
been a
you can
while.
turn on your light. Damn you.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've actually read this story. I forgot how dark it got. And
Yeah.
again, if you want to finish reading this, because like this was a post that was made in 2010.
Hmm.
It was September 7th, 2010 was the first post, and there are subsequent posts afterwards, around that same time frame.
Right.
Um, and a lot of them have like time stamps and everything, but if you don't want to read it, there is also the ROM hack based around Ben Drown that you can watch online that also features those same elements in there that we just talked about.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I hope this that story got y'all spooked.
Like I said, it's definitely got me spooked. I mean, I feel like part of it was because as I was uh as I was listening, I would hop to where my screen was, and if I'm sitting like right, or maybe it was right here. Here. Oh, I don't. Hold on. Let me try this. It was like I would sit a certain way, and then if I started smiling, how did I sit? It's like maybe, I don't know. There was a certain way I was sitting where it could just be because you turned your lights on, but if I moved my face, it looked freaky as well. So I'm sitting here like freaking myself out while listening to your story. But yeah.
And also my flashlight was freaking out at certain points, like it has a seizure or something.
Well, there were a couple times I didn't even see you, so I'm just sitting here like, am I the only one here?
Yeah, I was trying
Just
to
like
adjust
hopped into the
everything.
middle and saw this, they'd be so confused right now. But no, we gotta talk about some more creepypastas.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
There's a
again,
lot
this
of good.
might be my avenue of actually exploring creepy pastas for once. And there are other ones for sure, but
Who knows? Maybe one
yeah.
of these days we'll talk about the rake.
Or Slender Man.
Or we could talk about my favorite, which is the Russian sleep experiment.
I think you talked about that
I
once.
have talked about that one.
Yeah, but
Uh,
yeah, but Ben Drowned is appropriate for the spirit of Halloween.
yep.
So I hope y'all got spooked by it. And hey,
Mhm.
you want to go play a scary game? You could play Majora's Mask.
Yes.
If you don't want to be that scared, go play Luigi's Mansion.
And if you still don't want to be that scared, play a Lego game. Well,
Play play Lego Harry Potter.
yes, play Lego Harry Potter. Although there are jump scares. There's a jump scare in Lego Marvel Superheroes and a jump scare in Lego Dimensions.
Yeah, but for Lego Dimensions, you need all the.
Yeah, but
We
you
need
want
to talk about Toys to Life games.
we do need to talk about that. There's a lot of things we need to talk about. I don't know what it was about this past Wednesday, but I started thinking about a bunch of different ideas, and I was thinking about all these ideas, and I had to write them all down. So I've got a list of things I want to talk about coming up.
Definitely got some stuff to talk about too.
Yep. And one of those things is going to be this next Wednesday, Jake. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I have a general idea,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yes.
but
Until then, happy Halloween.
yes, happy Halloween. Have a wonderful week. Let's end the month out strong. With that, I say goodbye. Are we spooked yet?